Divine timing is not about clocks, calendars, or countdowns on a screen. It is about alignment. When we speak of only 60 seconds left, we are not describing panic, we are describing precision. There are moments in life when everything converges at once: your preparation, your prayers, your persistence, and your purpose. It can feel sudden, but it is never random. What appears urgent on the surface has often been arranged long before you recognized it. The 60 seconds symbolize a narrow window of response, a sacred intersection between opportunity and decision. Many people miss transformative moments because they assume there will always be more time, yet destiny does not always repeat its announcements. Divine timing calls for awareness. It asks you to stay spiritually alert and emotionally steady so that when the moment arrives, you do not freeze. Urgency in this context is not pressure meant to break you. It is focus meant to sharpen you. It compresses distractions and forces clarity. When something is released in your name, timing determines whether you experience it as a miracle or as a missed chance. Preparation meets opportunity in a moment that feels small but carries weight beyond measure. That is why awareness matters. That is why readiness matters. The clock is not your enemy. It is your reminder that purpose moves forward. If you understand divine timing, you stop living casually and start living consciously. You value each decision because you realize that some seconds are heavier than others. And when your moment comes, you will not scramble, you will respond. Living with an understanding of divine timing transforms your mindset. Instead of reacting emotionally to urgency, you learn to respond strategically. The 60 seconds represent a test of trust. Do you believe that what has been prepared for you is truly yours, or will doubt cause delay? Often the greatest obstacle is not lack of opportunity, but hesitation rooted in fear. Fear says you need more confirmation. Fear says you need more time, but faith recognizes alignment and moves forward. Divine timing does not eliminate responsibility. It intensifies it. When something arrives with your name attached, it means you have been considered capable. It means that growth has positioned you for increase. The challenge is not simply to receive, but to recognize. Recognition requires sensitivity. Sensitivity requires relationship. If you are constantly distracted, you will overlook the signal. Therefore, cultivate focus, reduce noise, strengthen discernment. When timing accelerates, clarity must be stronger than confusion. Understand that divine timing is rarely convenient, but it is always purposeful. It stretches you beyond comfort and invites you into expansion. The 60 seconds are symbolic of a threshold. You either step through it or watch it close. When you choose to trust alignment over anxiety, you step into momentum, and momentum changes everything. When something is sent in your name, it signifies more than opportunity. It signifies authorization. Authorization means you have been identified as capable, prepared, and positioned for a specific assignment. It is not random selection, it is recognition. Many people desire increase, yet few understand that increase follows identity. If you do not know who you are, you will mishandle what is entrusted to you. When provision is released with your name attached, it confirms that your growth has reached a level where responsibility can expand. Authorization is spiritual validation. It says that your prayers have been heard, your development has been observed, and your endurance has not been ignored. This is not about ego, it is about alignment. Your name represents your character, your history, and your capacity. When heaven responds to your name, it is responding to the version of you that has been refined through process. That is why preparation matters. Authorization does not come to the casual, it comes to the committed. When you understand this, you stop chasing random doors and start guarding your identity. You realize that what is meant for you cannot be reassigned without consequence. The urgency connected to authorization is not to create fear, but to demand awareness. If something carries your name, it requires your response. Ignoring it does not cancel its value, it simply transfers the benefit elsewhere. Therefore, stand confidently in your identity. Accept that you have been considered worthy of trust. Authorization is evidence that your season of preparation is producing visible results. With authorization comes responsibility. Being chosen for increase means being accountable for impact. When something is sent in your name, it implies stewardship. You are expected to manage it wisely, not merely consume it quickly. Authorization expands influence, and influence magnifies consequences. That is why maturity is essential. Many desire the announcement but resist the discipline that sustains it. True authorization is accompanied by clarity of purpose. It asks you to align your decisions with your assignment. You cannot carry greater weight with a smaller mindset. Therefore, expand your thinking. Recognize that authorization elevates expectations. It is a signal that you are no longer operating at the same level. The trust placed in your name reflects confidence in your growth. Do not shrink from it. Do not question it. Embrace it with humility and focus. When you respond to authorization with integrity, you create continuity. What begins as a single release becomes a pattern of reinforcement. Your name becomes associated with reliability, and reliability attracts further opportunity. Authorization is not a moment of excitement. It is a doorway into sustained expansion. Step through it consciously, understanding that what has been assigned to you carries purpose beyond personal gain. Readiness is not a mood, it is a mindset built over time. When we speak about a moment where only 60 seconds remain, readiness becomes the defining factor between reception and regret. Many people assume they will prepare when the opportunity appears, but true readiness is established long before the announcement is made. It is cultivated in private discipline, consistent growth, and quiet faithfulness. Readiness means your thoughts are aligned with expansion, your emotions are stable under pressure, and your spirit is attentive to instruction. It is not frantic energy. It is steady confidence. When something arrives with urgency, the prepared individual does not panic because the foundation has already been laid. The work that seemed repetitive and unseen was actually positioning you for swift movement. Readiness also involves releasing internal resistance. Sometimes we pray for increase while secretly fearing the responsibility attached to it. That conflict can cause hesitation at the critical moment. True readiness resolves that tension in advance. It declares, I am willing to carry what I have requested. Therefore, when the door opens, you step forward without negotiation. The 60 seconds symbolize compressed opportunity. In that space, doubt must be silent and clarity must be strong. Readiness transforms urgency into acceleration rather than anxiety. It allows you to move with intention instead of impulse. When you live prepared, you do not need extended time to decide. You recognize alignment quickly because you have trained your perspective. The moment does not create your confidence, it reveals it. And what is revealed in that brief window determines whether you advance or remain where you are. Sustaining readiness requires daily intentionality. It is not enough to be prepared once. Preparation must become a lifestyle. This means sharpening your skills, refining your character, and maintaining focus even when nothing dramatic is happening. Quiet seasons are often training grounds for sudden shifts. When you treat ordinary days with excellence, you build capacity for extraordinary moments. Readiness also demands courage. Sometimes opportunity feels larger than your previous experience. In those seconds, insecurity may attempt to speak louder than conviction. Yet if you have invested in growth, you will recognize that you have been stretched precisely for this level. Confidence rooted in preparation silences fear. Furthermore, readiness includes practical structure. Vision without organization collapses under pressure. When something significant is placed in your hands, systems must already exist to support it. Emotional excitement cannot replace wise planning. Therefore, align your habits with your aspirations. Surround yourself with sound counsel. Remove distractions that dilute focus. When the announcement comes, there will be no time to reorganize your priorities. The 60 seconds demand decisive action, and decisive action is only possible when readiness is established. Live in such a way that if opportunity arrived today, you would not need to scramble. You would simply step forward. That is the power of readiness. It converts possibility into progress without delay. Discernment is the quiet intelligence of the spirit that protects destiny from distraction. When there are only 60 seconds left, there is no room for confusion. You must be able to distinguish between noise and instruction, between pressure and purpose. Discernment is developed through consistent reflection, prayer, and honest self-evaluation. It is not suspicion, it is clarity. Many opportunities appear attractive, but not every open door aligns with your assignment. When something is truly sent in your name, it will resonate with your purpose, not merely your desire. Discernment helps you sense that alignment. In moments of urgency, emotions can rise quickly. excitement, fear, and doubt may all compete for attention. Without discernment, you may either rush into what was never meant for you or hesitate when you should advance. Therefore, train your inner awareness. Learn the difference between anxiety and divine prompting. Anxiety is chaotic and draining, but true prompting carries peace even when it demands courage. Discernment also requires honesty about motives. Ask yourself whether your decision is driven by ego, insecurity, or genuine calling. The 60 seconds symbolize concentrated decision-making. When you have cultivated discernment beforehand, you do not need excessive time to evaluate. You recognize patterns. You recognize confirmation. You recognize alignment. Discernment does not remove responsibility, it strengthens it. It ensures that what you open truly belongs to you and that what you decline was never assigned. In a world filled with constant options, clarity is power, and in a brief window of opportunity, clarity becomes protection. Strengthening discernment involves intentional practice. You sharpen it by slowing down in ordinary moments so that you can move quickly in critical ones. Reflection builds insight. Experience builds wisdom. Listening builds accuracy. When you regularly assess your decisions and learn from outcomes, you begin to identify signals more clearly. Discernment also grows through accountability. Trusted counsel can help confirm what you sense internally. Isolation often clouds judgment, but wise conversation refines it. In the context of urgency, discernment prevents impulsive reactions. It reminds you that speed must be guided by understanding. If something carries your name and aligns with your purpose, it will withstand thoughtful examination. You will not feel forced into it. You will feel invited toward it. Discernment keeps you balanced. It guards you from cynicism while protecting you from naivety. When only seconds remain, you rely on what has already been developed within you. That inner clarity becomes your compass. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond strategically. Instead of fearing loss, you trust alignment. Discernment transforms urgency into informed action. It allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that your decision is rooted in purpose rather than pressure. Faith in action is the bridge between promise and manifestation. Belief alone is insufficient if it does not prompt movement. When something is sent in your name, it requires response. The instruction to open or lose it emphasizes the necessity of participation. Opportunities, resources, and blessings remain dormant until activated through faith-filled action. Faith is not hesitation, it is decisive movement even when circumstances are unclear. It trusts in the character of God more than in the comfort of certainty. In those critical 60 seconds, the call to act becomes urgent because the moment is calibrated for impact. Waiting for perfect timing often results in missed opportunity. True faith responds to inner assurance, not external validation. When provision arrives, hesitation can cost more than just the chance itself. It can delay momentum, diminish confidence, and allow someone else to steward what was meant for you. Faith is a posture of readiness, a conscious choice to align with purpose, and a commitment to obey guidance even in the absence of complete understanding. When you act, you validate trustworthiness, showing that you are prepared to carry the responsibility that accompanies the blessing. Faith in action transforms potential into tangible results. It is the conduit through which divine alignment meets human response. The moment to act is also the moment to declare trust. By stepping forward confidently, you convert what is symbolic into what is functional, turning what was intended into what is actual. Faith in action signals that you are not passive in the unfolding of your destiny. It demonstrates partnership with divine strategy and positions you for continued acceleration. When you act decisively, momentum is released and opportunities compound. In this sense, faith is both the spark and the fuel for breakthrough. Acting in faith requires preparation and clarity. It demands that your heart, mind, and spirit are aligned with the assignment at hand. You must cultivate discernment so that your actions are consistent with purpose rather than impulsivity. Faith in action does not mean recklessness. It means responsive obedience rooted in understanding. It transforms urgency into confident movement rather than panic. Practicing faith in everyday circumstances strengthens your ability to act decisively in critical moments. The more you act in alignment with purpose during ordinary seasons, the more prepared you are for extraordinary ones. Faith also requires releasing fear and doubt. Fear questions whether you are ready, whether the timing is correct, and whether you can handle the responsibility. Faith responds with trust and movement. It embraces opportunity when it aligns with calling, even if the path forward is not fully visible. By acting on what is sent in your name, you participate in the activation of provision, turning potential into performance. In these moments, hesitation is costly, but decisive faith invites acceleration, confirmation, and multiplication. Every action taken in alignment with purpose becomes a step toward legacy, demonstrating that faith is not static belief, but dynamic participation in the unfolding of destiny. Receiving provision is only the beginning. Stewardship determines whether it multiplies or dissipates. When something is sent in your name, it comes with responsibility. Stewardship is the disciplined management of what has been entrusted to you, not merely the act of possession. It involves wisdom, planning, and ethical consideration. Many people receive resources but fail to maximize their impact because they lack the foresight to manage them effectively. True stewardship is both practical and spiritual. Practically, it requires organization, accountability, and intentionality. Spiritually, it reflects gratitude, integrity, and alignment with purpose. The urgency of 60 seconds is not solely about claiming the provision, but also about recognizing that what arrives carries expectation. Mismanagement can result in loss, not because the provision was insufficient, but because preparation and discipline were inadequate. Stewardship ensures continuity. When you handle resources wisely, you preserve value, create sustainability, and prepare for future opportunities. It transforms momentary gain into lasting influence. Stewardship also involves understanding the broader impact of what you receive. Money, resources, or opportunities are not only for personal benefit, they are tools to expand capacity, support others, and fulfill your purpose. Every decision you make with what is entrusted to you either strengthens or diminishes your ability to handle greater responsibility. When you cultivate a mindset of stewardship, you see every provision as a seed with potential to grow. You do not act impulsively, you act intentionally. Each choice reflects foresight and character. The 60-second urgency is a test of both receptivity and readiness to manage the blessing effectively. Stewardship transforms sudden provision into sustained progress and ensures that what is received aligns with long-term vision and purpose. Stewardship requires both preparation and ongoing discipline. It is not a one-time action, but a lifestyle of accountability. When you receive resources in alignment with your assignment, you are expected to manage them thoughtfully and responsibly. This means having systems in place, seeking guidance when necessary, and maintaining focus on the intended purpose. It also involves a mindset shift from immediate consumption to strategic investment. Stewardship ensures that blessings do not become burdens. By planning, monitoring, and acting with integrity, you create an environment where provision multiplies and impact expands. The principle is simple. What is managed well grows. What is neglected diminishes. Therefore, approach every opportunity with clarity, gratitude, and a commitment to excellence. Recognize that the responsibility attached to what is sent in your name is as important as the blessing itself. Stewardship is the bridge between receiving and sustaining. It allows sudden provision to become transformational. When you embrace this principle, you honor both the source and the purpose of what is entrusted to you, and you position yourself for even greater opportunities in the future. Many people are positioned for blessings but limited by their own mindset. Limitation begins internally before it appears externally. Often, fear, doubt, or old patterns of thinking prevent individuals from receiving what has been prepared for them. When a sudden opportunity arises, something sent in your name, the moment demands expansion of thought. Limitation tells you that the provision is too much, too soon, or too complicated, but divine alignment requires you to move beyond what feels comfortable. Breaking limitation begins with awareness. You must recognize where you have unconsciously confined your expectations, where you have doubted your worthiness, or where you have clung to old definitions of possibility. The 60-second window is not meant to intimidate. It is designed to stretch your thinking and your capacity. Opportunity calls for a larger mindset, one that embraces growth without fear of responsibility or change. When you encounter provision, it is not only a financial or material gift, it is symbolic of expanded potential, influence, and impact. Limitation is often a voice that whispers, "You are not ready." Yet readiness is demonstrated through courageous action. To break limitation, you must challenge internal barriers and align your vision with your destiny. Replace hesitation with declaration. Replace fear with expectation. When you do this, you create a space for increase that is not bound by prior experiences or outdated beliefs. Breaking limitation is a process, but the moment of opportunity requires immediate alignment between thought, faith, and action. If your mindset is too small to receive, the blessing may pass unnoticed. Expansion begins in the mind, but it is confirmed through decisive engagement. By confronting limitation